Hello everybody and welcome back to another EU4 campaign. This time I have tentatively selected Delhi, and we're going to be talking all about what's going on with Delhi here. And there's a decent chance that this particular recording might not actually make it to YouTube because we could fail this. And I'm not going to upload a bunch of failed attempts. I've done one very quick little non-Iron Man practice run to just kind of get a feel of what the situation here is, and it's a little sketchy. It's a little sketchy, but I think there's a pretty surefire way that we're going to be able to avoid the initial problems. So this is Dharma, right? Dharma's come out. Dharma radically changed the Indian geography here, added a bunch of interesting achievements. There is an achievement for Delhi that we are going to be going for because we are playing on Iron Man, as I recommend for players new and old, because it really does create that level of intensity and storytelling that is going to make this very memorable, no matter whether we win or lose. You know, that's the cool thing. We could completely fail. So it's kind of hard to see, but if we hover over this, we could see, whoa. We got a full-on form Hindustan. I thought it was just we had to reclaim the top. Okay, so I guess we're basically going to conquer all of India as Delhi. That's the goal here. That's the goal. Yeah, that's gonna be a little tricky right now. So I think, you know, last campaign we did was France, right, on the YouTube, and it was very much. It started off. I tried to kind of pass it off as a tutorial, and I got a lot of backlash for that. It makes sense in retrospect. People have this idea of what a tutorial is supposed to be. I think it was a tutorial for a while, at least. For the first 10 to 20 episodes, I think it did a good job at sort of like presenting the game, teaching the game in a way that's a little bit different than typical tutorials that just say, okay, this tutorial is all about trade. This tutorial is all about economy. None of that makes any sense. If you've literally never played the game before, there's no context. I mean, we can go into this menu and we can see all these numbers here. None of this means anything. None of this means anything. You have to first learn the game from an overarching viewpoint to have any context in any of those numbers, any of that. And that's really not even that big of a deal. For a brand new player, I mean, trade's just not something. Yeah, you're going to be making a lot of money from this, but you just need to know the fundamental basics. You don't need to know how to optimize it by 3%. You know what I mean? So that's how we did that last campaign. And I think, honestly, this one's going to be the same. And I don't want to say it's going to be for complete beginners, but I want to say, like, I'm trying to figure out how to classify the group of people that I'm talking about. I mean, I'm included in this group of people. I'm not an expert at this game. I don't have the authority to do Let's Plays on this game and, like, teach people how to best play the game. That's not what I'm doing here. Hopefully, I'm just kind of, like, easing people into the game, trying to teach the game from a different perspective. I think most of the time, these playthroughs are meant to be, you know, for teaching people how to get more comfortable with the game, different ways to approach the game and think about the game, and how we can work through the problems, even if we don't understand all of the numbers, how we can still get to a good choice, going, you know, ways that basically anyone can piece together with the evidence that we have without digging too deep, you know, without stressing about the fastest way to do something or the best way to do something, which this game definitely encourages that. Like, later on, as you get better, you will graduate to the idea of trying to do everything the best, the fastest, the smoothest, the coolest. But I'm not there yet. Heck, I'm coming up on 1,000 hours on this game, and I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing half the time. There's a lot of details that I don't know yet, that I'm still learning. I'm constantly learning things over on the Twitch channel, because the cool thing is their chat is teaching me how to play the game. You know, and I mean, I know how to hit the buttons, but people are always helping me learn new things about the game too. Every area, every nation you play, there's different situations that you have to think about. Different culture groups or religious groups or, you know, government types and things like that all have their own little nuances. I mean, the game at this point is just so ridiculously varied that you can't really know everything about the game, even playing it for 1,000 hours. I mean, heck, 1,000 hours, that's like 10 to 15 campaigns. That's nothing. That's literally nothing. So I don't know how to classify this group of people that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? The way that I've kind of like described it in the past is like lifelong learners, like campaigns for lifelong learners or lifelong noobs, right? Like people like me that just, you know, I'm learning it over time, slowly, and Yeah, and that's great. That's what I love about the game, is that we can always learn something new from the game. Every experience we can take away something. So that's what I like about the game. So yeah, this is gonna be for newer players. You know, maybe players with 100 hours in the game, or 200, maybe 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's not gonna be for advanced players. It never will be, because I'm not an advanced player. So, all right, enough of the intro out of the way, guys. Let's look at Delhi here. And I'll be honest, we might not unpause the game. We might not unpause the game here in this first episode. I'm also going to try to keep the episodes a little shorter, and hopefully this won't take as long. Hopefully overall the whole thing will go a little bit quicker than with France. I don't think we're not going to, you know, optimize for any sort of like massive world conquest. We're gonna just try to take over in India and form Hindustan as Delhi. That's going to be our goal here. That's the achievement that we're going for. Reclaim the empire. So Delhi. Again, just sort of, you know, going along with the thought process of how we started off with the last campaign. A couple things we can look at. We want to look at our geography, what's going on, who's who likes us, who hates us. And these banners are going to kind of like guide us through here. So we could start off by looking at the red one here. And this is actually incredibly important for Delhi. We have disloyal subjects. We have 2 subjects right here. We could go to our diplomatic screen, our map mode here, to see that this is a subject here, and we have a subject here. I'm not going to be pronouncing any names correctly, by the way. So any vassal that's over 50%, we never really had this issue with France because France is so powerful. Any subject that we would have had as France would have been bending the knee, you know, because they would have been so terrified of our power. But look at us. This is us. This is our subject. He's got 8,000 troops. I have 9,000 troops. This subject has 2,000 troops. They add, like, in their thought process, they actually add their powers together. If we have a lot of subjects, they kind of like recognize that. They're like, hey, if we all rised up together, we could break free. You know what I mean? So the fact that, I mean, we're outnumbered by our subjects, right? 10,000 to 1, or 10,000 to 9,000, sorry. So that's playing a massive role, just an incredibly massive role in the Liberty Desire situation here. So this nation is sitting at 87%. That's pretty high. Anything over 50 is not good. That's incredibly high. And what's going to happen is if they're over 50%, they can actually try to align with other nations, like nations that rival us, which is probably going to be Jaunpur, Mewar, and Malwa, and maybe even some people over here. But they're going to try to align with those people, and they will very successfully align with those people. Once they align with them, this number is quickly going to go to 100%. When this goes to 100%, it's just all bets are off. They're going to be attacking us. They're going to be trying to break free. And here's the tricky thing. Here's the really tricky thing about this. This nation here, that is our subject, has cores. Okay, cores on our land. Remember how France had those those bits of lands that England actually controlled, but they were rightful French lands? Well, we actually have all of the land that we have is rightfully theirs, and all of the land that they have is rightfully ours. It's this, we have tons of cores here because once upon a time Delhi was a large, powerful nation, and due to, you know, uprisings and religious imbalances and just probably religious revolts and stuff like that, or, you know, whatever. I don't know the history of Delhi, but I mean, we can imagine, right? We can imagine that once upon a time Delhi, very recently, controlled a lot of this. And they've lost this land, but we still, in our hearts, we know that this is truly our land. And so do people around us. They kind of recognize that too. Hey, this was once, you know, Delhi's land. But this nation, for whatever reason, has a claim on Delhi itself too, like a cores. So if they go to war with us, it's very easy for them to just immediately eliminate us, just completely eliminate us. So we need to be very cautious. If they go to war with us and they call in like Jaunpur and maybe, you know, Mewar or something like that, we're donezo. We're donezo. I mean, we're just not going to be able to survive that. They're going to just wash over us like a wave. So we need to figure out how to get this number below 50%, at least low enough, like close enough to 50% that we can get it to tick down. Because one of the things we're going to do just on a basic level is we're probably just going to want to butter these people up. We have a potential, it will help to butter them up, right? Just by improving our relations with them, we can see that opinion is minusing 6.8%, but we haven't really worked on that. We can get them up to plus 200%. because they're a subject. So a subject, we can add 200% instead of just 100%. So 200 plus the 68 will be capped at 200. So if we get up to 200, that's going to be a good solid. It looks like, in fact, I don't think it's a coincidence that this is minus 6.8, right? And we have 68 with them. Every point is 0.1 reduction to their liberty desire. 0.1% reduction to their liberty desire is what I'm just noticing. I didn't even know that. I'm just kind of noticing that right there. So if we get them to 200, that's going to be 20% reduction. That's going to be an additional 13% off. Thing is, can we do that in time before they declare on us or before they get alliances with other people? This nation is much smaller, so they're a little bit more likely to fall in line, although they're still kind of being a problem here. We need to also work on getting an alliance. So if we go to, yep, Miwar's rivaled us, we can't ally them. Jaunpur's rivaled us, we can't ally them. And Malwa has rivaled us. In fact, remember, we can go to this button here. We can see the 3 people that have rivaled us. 1, 2, and 3. And also, if we go to the reputation button, or opinion map mode, we can see that these people don't like us. Like, very much do not like us. As we can see, they're like a dark orange and red. That means that they've rivaled us, pretty much. These people don't like us because apparently they want our provinces, so not because they've rivaled us. So I guess we could start off by just rivaling them. In fact, these are the only 3 people we can rival. So let's just, what the heck, let's just rival these people back. Nothing crazy there. Okay, so we can't really ally any of these people. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to look beyond them. Potentially bomb on us, but we're a different religion. In fact, when I look at this, minus 20 because we're a heretic religion. Religious school relations minus 25. So yeah, that puts them at minus 45. It's going to be very hard, I suspect, to get an alliance with Baumanis. Vijayanagara. It still looks like it's going to be an uphill battle to get one with Vijayanagara. We are different religions, but it's a lower modifier. It's not as big of a modifier there. If we continue to look around, I can say that these guys are not particularly powerful, but it looks like they might ally us. Timurids might ally us. We're actually historically a rival of the Timurids, actually. So there's a little bit there that makes it so they don't want to ally us. Interesting. Bengal. Bengal looks like a fantastic choice. Same religion, same religious schools, plus 10. Yeah, this is way possible. So Bengal, I think, is going to be one of our best bets here. So we can, of course, go to the religious map mode to see what's going on here. Jaunpur is also our religion, but they've rivaled us. So is Malwa. They've rivaled us as well. I think that pretty much happens almost every single time, unfortunately. So we are actually Sunni. We can see that all of our land is actually Hindu land, but we are actually a Sunni nation. So presumably, I mean, we could think about, I mean, this is probably too far away. Yeah, the distance between borders minus 70%. So we're not going to get anyone like the Mamluks. The Timurids are very volatile. The Timurids are just like, it's a 50-50 proposition whether these guys are going to exist because they have lots of vassals. Like, they have like, what, 5 vassals? And I can tell you they're in the same situation as us. Their vassals do not like their overlord, and they want to rise up against the Timurids very strongly. So that's going to be very tricky. If we look down here, though, you know, we got some Sunni bits down here. I don't think there's any particular nations down here that would be really strong as allies. They're a little too far away to be able to respond. Bengal is really like, Bengal I think is going to be essential. So let's get improve relations going with Bengal here. And once we can secure, we're very close to securing the royal marriage. Once we get this royal marriage, that should tip us over the edge here. We get that. So we have one more diplomat. We could send it to this guy because he doesn't like us. Although there's another button that I'll admit, a new player. This is going to be a tricky campaign, guys. I don't know if I specifically said that, but this is a sketchy one. This is not recommended for new players, but we're going to try to work through it with the same thought processes. And the start here is going to be absolutely fundamental, like very important. So with Delhi, one thing is I'll say that this is not intuitive to a new player because yes, it is. I take that back. Let's keep going down the banners. We know that the vassals don't like us. There's nothing we can do in the short. Well, there is some things we can do. We need to get back to that. That's a huge aspect of this situation, a huge aspect of this situation is that. So we need to go back to that in a second. So we got a little bit of just an insignificant amount of unrest here. Probably because this isn't our religion, it's not accepted. It's not religion, not accepted culture, things like that. Things like that. The cool thing is, even though we are Sunni, what we do have is we have +1 tolerance of heathens. So what this means is, I don't even know where that Indian sultanate is actually coming from exactly. It's giving us +3. I don't know where that's coming from. But anyways, point of the story is, we're not in complete disarray. Like, we have more tolerance for Hindu people and Hindu states. So, yeah, technically the government, then, you know, the federal government or whatever is Sunni, but we don't mind the fact that there's Hindu people out and about. So, like, the truth is we still tolerate those people. Everything's fine. There is a harmony. There is a bit of a harmony to it. There's a little bit of unrest, just a scooch, but really nothing that we're worried about. But we can slowly work on converting some of these bits, I think. In the Sunni religion, there's a bunch of cool stuff going on here. Remember, Catholic had its own things going on. Now we got a bunch of things going on with this Islam branch. But one of the things that this is telling us, so we have provinces we can convert, but we can notice that, hey, 144 months? You're telling me it's going to take 12 years to convert this? That doesn't sound very good at all. That doesn't sound very good at all. We can do something about that. We can do something about that. But for now, let's ignore that. We have a truce with Malwa, apparently. I don't know why that's significant, but I don't know. We couldn't really ever attack Malwa early in the game anyway, so, but either way, we have a truce with Malwa for some reason for 4 years. We have a bit, like, just absolutely a horrendously bad situation going on with our leadership. It's just awful. It's absolutely awful. We have a 1-0-0. We need to get this guy, like, this guy needs to go. This guy needs to go. Our leader is a 1-1-1, which is bad. This is just not a good situation. I think our economy is okay. This is with 9,000 troops, but we need to build, if we go to our force limit, we need to build 6,000 more. So we have advisor slots, we can't afford them, right? That's basically what we're determining here. 1 ducat a month, we cannot afford any of these guys. We need to basically invest all of our money into building up our military as much as possible. We have to spend some of our money rooting out corruption because of our religious, non-religious unity. So we can't hire advisors. The unrest is really not a big deal. The truce, we don't care about that particular truce. We know that we can convert provinces, sort of, right? We can and we can't. This is going to take too long. It's not worth paying the missionary. What we can do, actually, let's talk about that right now because it's a banner. Let's just go through the banners here. This, what specific province are we talking about here? This one here. Okay. So it's saying this one's close. What we can do is we can actually go to the edicts. And there is an edict here. Did we even do this as France? I can't even remember. We never had to. I don't know if we ever had to do this. Huh. We might have used it for the local development cost. I don't know. But anyways, we can enact a state edict. This is with one of the expansions. But so this is the province screen for this province here, which we want to convert, but it's going to take forever to do it. This is the Upper Doab state. So all these provinces are in this state. We can enact edicts for the state. And there's one actually that increases local missionary strength by 1%. That's actually going to make a huge difference. It does mean that the state maintenance is going to cost, this number right here is going to triple. Or triple. Yep, triple. Wow. So it's, don't get me wrong, it's very expensive. Very expensive to do this. But it is at least going to let us convert at a reasonable pace. So we are going to be able to convert 2 of these provinces, which should get a religious unity up to an acceptable rate, which should just increase the stability of our nation overall. So unfortunately, we are paying about an entire, almost a ducat. We're literally paying a lot of money to get to pay the missionary and to pay for the edict. But I think that's going to be worth it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's probably not worth it, but we're going to try that. So this is the last thing that this is telling us here. Can enact a taxation policy. So as our government type, as the Sultanate. So this is where we're getting the tolerance of heathens coming from. It's actually coming from our government reform. So we've selected this as our government reform. which is really neat. And there's some other choices here that we could switch to, but we actually really do desperately need that tolerance of heathens. So we have tax policy here, and we can see that the first one is just 15% more. We can just tax more. Just tax more. Apparently we'll also get 222 ducats. Oh, during this period, you also get... Is that saying that we'll immediately just get... From the total development... Oh, from your subjects. So we're just going to get a lump sum. I believe we'll just get a lump sum. You'll also... Okay, so here we'll get a reduction in core creation cost by 5%, which is actually very good. Makes it cheaper to take in land, right? And make it part of your country. And we'll also get 5,500 manpower from your total development. You know, just... We're getting free... So here we get core creation cost reduction in manpower, which is actually really good. Here, we're going to get more money, which is really good. Actually, that could be, you know, that money could be really useful. But check this one. Lenient taxation. We get an extra diplomatic reputation, which helps us, you know, maintain our vassal liberty desire, and also gives us better relationships with other nations. Lets us, you know, make alliances easier. Liberty desire in subjects minus 15%. This is huge. We need to hit this button. Like right now in the situation we're in, we have to hit this button. We have to get these guys under control. So look at that. We hit that button and immediately this guy's already good to go. This guy is good to go. And soon, I don't think he'll have a disloyal attitude. I think his disloyal attitude is about to go away because he's now below 44%. So when we unpause the game, this guy should be in a position where we should be able to Royal Marry him. Once we Royal Marry him, that'll be a little bit of a modifier towards getting him squared away. This guy's still at 69%. Now, we can do some things about this. We can hit this button down here to placate local rulers. This is where we trade 20 prestige for 10 liberty desire. Which is pretty good, right? This is pretty good. Because now we're going to have our prestige is going to be trending upwards rather than down, which is good. Uncontested core is -1. Ooh, never mind. Never mind. Our prestige is in a bad spot right now. So we're at 59%. The other way that we can lower their liberty desire is we can actually... Because I don't think we can hit that when we're at negative prestige. No, we cannot. The other way that we're going to lower liberty desire for this nation is we could go in and develop their land. We could go in and hit these buttons here. Okay. And if we develop their land, we get 5% reduction. We get a 5% reduction. But also, if we want to risk it and just kind of coast for a little bit, we might be able to just butter them up enough to go below that. Well, again, once we get the royal marriage, it should be pretty much in lock. But they might get an alliance before then. So there we go. We've kind of looked at everything here in that situation. What we need to do is we need to get troops built. And the other, oh, that's another thing that's going to help us, right? That's another thing that's going to help us big time. Okay. Is because if we look here, it's strength, right? It's relative power. So by building troops, that's going to lower it too. So when these troops get built, there's a good chance we might be able to sneak just under 50%, get the royal marriage, and then just be, you know, sort of in a comfy position there, potentially. We need to get the alliance on Bengal. We've looked at this situation. This is just going to be trending upwards 0.71 per month. So this is the new system with Dharma for reforming your government. So this is just going to be working its way up automatically. We don't have to worry too much about that. There's still some things to look at here. We need to eventually get these guys out of here. Let's take a moment and roll. Let's just stick these guys as... Get them in the field of combat here. Because we need them both to die, to be completely honest. We need these guys both to die. As quickly as possible. We can focus one of these. We probably... I'm torn a little bit because our points, we have so little points. We have so little points here. this first technology is so important as well. I think we do need to just go military focus. The last thing that we need to look at, well, we need to look at our goals, which I haven't looked at actually at all. And actually we need to look at our trade, our goals, and our estates. So we need to look at this stuff in the next episode, and then then we'll probably be unpausing the game later in the next episode, or maybe in the third episode. So we've kind of like seen what's going on. Where else can we get an alliance? Can we get, ooh, Gujarat. Same religion. Gujarat. Boom. Here we go. Let's get Gujarat on board. So let's get Gujarat and Bengal. That's the goal. Get Gujarat and Bengal, and we got to butter these people up fast. Butter them up fast. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We actually have a free merchant, so we got to play around with that. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.